Let's explore these mysteries together in today's video. Extraterrestrial eyes upon Earth. Modern scientists have long entertained the hypothesis that if an alien civilization truly exists somewhere in the cosmos, they could very well be observing us at this very moment. Yet, what they perceive is not the Earth we know today. The absolute speed limit set by light creates a barrier, a veil of time that cannot be pierced. From a distance of thousands of light years, any extraterrestrial observer would only be receiving faint signals, light reflected from Earth thousands of years in the past. If, for example, an observatory were positioned 3,000 light years away, its watchers would be witnessing the birth of humanity's earliest cities in Mesopotamia, or perhaps the first footsteps pressed into fertile river deltas. This phenomenon is not a one-way illusion, but a fundamental law that governs all acts of cosmic observation. Both humanity and any alien intelligence peer at each other through fractured windows into remote history. No matter how advanced technology becomes, the exchange of information and observation across interstellar distances is forever bound by the speed at which light travels. This immutable law transforms communication, and even the very recognition of each other's existence, into an almost impossible challenge for any intelligent civilization scattered across the universe. From a physical perspective, every image received by distant galaxies is an ancient signal, born of the simple fact that light requires time to traverse the void. The greater the distance, the deeper into the past those images plunge. This means that no matter where one stands in the Milky Way, extraterrestrial observers cannot witness modern humanity or the latest upheavals on Earth. They see only a young planet, shaped by ancient rivers, home to early civilizations rising along their banks. It is this inescapable barrier, a property of the universe itself, that helps explain why the cosmos, though vast beyond comprehension, remains so silent. It is why the search for alien intelligence, the effort to make contact, or even to prove that others exist, endures as one of humanity's greatest and most enduring mysteries. The lost city of the monkey god. Deep within the Honduran rainforest, the legend of a city devoted to a monkey god has lingered for generations. Locals know it as La Ciudad Blanca, the White City, woven through stories of white stone structures and the presence of a powerful monkey deity. According to these tales, any outsider who dares to trespass risks sickness and misfortune, lending a shadowy reputation to this mysterious land. The first turning point came in the 1940s, when the explorer Theodore Maud ventured into the La Mosquitia region, hoping to verify the ancient accounts. There, he listened to stories about a gigantic monkey statue buried in the jungle and rumors of a pre-Columbian civilization that had flourished here, building a city of immense wealth. Maud later claimed to have discovered traces of the White City, bringing back thousands of stone artifacts and documenting accounts of strange illnesses that had afflicted many explorers. This only deepened the mythic fog surrounding the site. Decades passed, but scientific fascination with the White City never waned. In 2015, filmmaker Steve Elkins and a team of researchers combined modern archaeological methods with cutting-edge LIDAR technology to survey a vast stretch of rainforest that had remained almost entirely untouched. Beneath the dense canopy, laser pulses reflected from the ground, allowing the team to reconstruct a three-dimensional map of the area. They uncovered the foundations of ancient structures and a low pyramid. On the ground, Elkins' team found a trove of stone artifacts, animal effigies, and fragments of sculpture bearing a distinct cultural style. All were dated to between the 11th and 14th centuries. These discoveries opened up the possibility that a vibrant civilization once flourished here, hidden for centuries beneath the Honduran jungle. Yet to this day, the legendary monkey god statue described in native tales remains elusive, and excavations continue in the hope of new revelations. The latest findings have begun to connect mythology with archaeological evidence, bringing into focus the rise, development, and mysterious disappearance of a city that may once have been a cultural center of Central America. The White City still holds many secrets, not just regarding its precise location, but also the influence of environment and social upheaval on its fate. The giant predatory bird of New Zealand. In the memory of the Maori people of New Zealand, tales of a giant bird, known as the puakai, linger as an enduring source of dread. According to legend, the puakai was a predatory creature that haunted the mountain peaks, swooping down to attack humans. Folk stories warn that no one could escape the creature's talons, and for generations, fear of the bird hung over the southern islands. As archaeology advanced, scientists began to question the true origins of these stories. The discovery of Haast's eagle fossils shed light on the mystery. Haast's eagle was the largest predatory bird ever known, boasting a wingspan of up to 3 meters. Analysis of skeletal remains, talon structure, and striking power confirmed that the eagle was capable of hunting and killing even fully grown moa, enormous flightless birds weighing several hundred kilograms, once common across New Zealand. With such size and strength, it is entirely possible that Haast's eagle occasionally targeted humans, especially during the early periods of Maori settlement when people and these giant birds coexisted. Thus, the tales of the Puakai may well have originated from actual encounters between ancient people and Haast's eagle. After the moa vanished, driven to extinction by hunting and environmental change, Haast's eagle disappeared as well. Yet, the memory of the giant bird has survived through generations in oral tradition, folklore, and the fossil remains unearthed in caves and swamps. This phenomenon reveals how real natural events become embedded in communal memory, creating a cultural heritage that blends historical fact and popular belief, and offering crucial insight into Earth's lost creatures. The Skeleton Lake of Roopkund, India. Roopkund Lake lies high in the Indian Himalayas. Each summer, when the ice melts, hundreds of human skeletons emerge from the water, presenting science and local legend with an enduring mystery. The site first drew attention in the 1940s, when a British forest ranger stumbled across the eerie scene. Scattered around the shores and beneath the surface of this small lake, at over 5,000 meters in elevation, lay a multitude of bones, raising profound questions about the fate and identity of the dead. Ancient Hindu legends hold that these remains belong to a group punished by the gods for sacrilege during a grand pilgrimage across sacred mountains. Some versions claim a local king led his retinue and musicians on a religious journey, breaking taboos and incurring the wrath of the goddess Nanda Devi. Every 12 years, traditional pilgrimages still draw thousands across these perilous heights, adding to the site's aura of sanctity and mystery. Modern scientific research has offered a more persuasive explanation. Radiocarbon dating and genetic testing of the remains placed the event in the 9th century. Crucially, many of the skeletons displayed trauma consistent with blows from large, hard objects, the signature of an extraordinary hailstorm. Researchers now believe a deadly barrage of hailstones struck a traveling group, killing them instantly. DNA analysis further reveals that the Roopkund skeletons represent at least two distinct populations, native South Asians and a group of Mediterranean origin. This suggests that Roopkund was a crossroads for multiple migratory groups, not merely a site of local pilgrimage. Roopkund Lake stands as both a unique archaeological site and a testament to the harsh power of nature over human destiny. It reflects the complex interplay of history and legend, and the way in which natural disasters are woven into the cultural evolution of the Himalayan region. The Viking Sunstone. According to Norse sagas, the Vikings once possessed a remarkable stone known as the sunstone, a tool that allowed them to locate the position of the sun even when it was hidden by clouds or heavy fog. Legend has it that with the aid of this mystical crystal, Viking sailors navigated vast oceans and surpassed the limitations of medieval seafaring. For a long time, the sunstone was mentioned only in folklore, with no tangible proof of its existence. However, recent archaeological discoveries have lent credibility to the legend. A transparent crystal identified as Iceland spar was found aboard a 16th century shipwreck in the English Channel, alongside conventional navigation instruments, suggesting it once served as a navigational aid. Similar fragments have also been uncovered at ancient Viking sites in Iceland, providing further evidence that sunstones were genuinely used in the Viking world. Scientifically, Iceland spar is a form of calcium carbonate with unique double refracting properties. When sunlight passes through the stone, it splits into two distinct rays. By rotating the crystal until these rays align, a navigator can accurately pinpoint the sun's position even in overcast conditions. This ingenious tool offered an effective solution for navigation when compasses failed or natural landmarks were absent. The sunstone's utility helped Viking explorers venture across the North Atlantic, contributing to the expansion and trade networks of Norse communities during the Middle Ages. The convergence of legend and scientific validation has partially revealed the secret of Viking navigation and stands as proof of how ancient people harnessed the natural world to master their destinies. The Amazon warrior women. In the myths of ancient Greece, the Amazon warrior women were described as a fiercely independent society, an isolated nation of powerful women living beyond the frontiers of the civilized world. They appeared throughout epic poetry, standing in direct opposition to some of Greece's greatest heroes, and became enduring symbols of strength. The image of the Amazon queen, weapon in hand, would later inspire countless cultural archetypes, most notably the modern superhero Wonder Woman. For centuries, stories of the Amazons were dismissed as products of imagination or exaggerations by Greek historians. Yet, recent archaeological discoveries in regions such as Azerbaijan have yielded compelling physical evidence, helping to confirm the historical reality behind the legend. Numerous ancient tombs have been excavated, many containing the remains of women buried with weapons, bows, arrows, and distinctive ornaments demonstrating that their social status and roles rivaled those of men. Some skeletons show clear signs of habitual weapon use and frequent horseback riding, perfectly matching the descriptions of nomadic warrior life. In many cases, healed injuries from combat further reinforce the hypothesis that these women were indeed real warriors. Grave goods such as carnelian necklaces, symbols of high rank or ritual significance, have also been found among these burials. Evidence of female warrior communities is not limited to a single region. Traces appear across the vast steppe and the Caucasus Mountains. This suggests that matriarchal or egalitarian societies, in which women wielded both military and political power, once flourished across a broad expanse for millennia, leaving a profound imprint on the cultural fabric of the region. When we synthesize these archaeological findings with ancient accounts, it becomes clear that the legend of the Amazons is not merely a flight of fancy, but rather a reflection of a complex and diverse historical reality. Their legacy stands as proof of the richness of ancient social structures and opens new perspectives on the vital role of women throughout the development of civilization. Mercury and ancient rituals. Cinnabar is a mineral recognized by its vivid red hue, chemically composed of mercury sulfide. Humans have known of and exploited cinnabar for thousands of years. On the Iberian Peninsula, archaeological research has uncovered abundant evidence of cinnabar use in religious ceremonies, especially in southern Spain. Prehistoric communities often employed cinnabar to decorate tombs, color artifacts, and conduct rituals connected to life and death. These practices reflected not only beliefs about the afterlife, but also the social significance of collective rites. Such rituals typically unfolded in enclosed spaces or around communal burial pits, where participants made direct contact with the mineral. Cinnabar was ground, mixed with oil or water, then smeared on skin and objects, or even inhaled or ingested in traditional remedies. Prolonged cinnabar use led to mercury entering the human body over generations. Analyses of prehistoric human bones from sites such as Balestrino reveal mercury concentrations many times above modern safety thresholds. Mercury poisoning does not manifest immediately, but accumulates over time, resulting in neurological symptoms, memory loss, motor disorders, damage to internal organs, and broader public health impacts. Women and children, in particular, suffered the greatest harm due to metabolic and immunological differences. Modern archaeology, through chemical analysis, has illuminated the link between these communal rites and widespread mercury intoxication, helping to identify the true causes of ancient bone disease and health disturbances. Researchers have also noted that faith in cinnabar's mystical powers helped sustain these rituals for centuries. From cosmetics and ritual objects to the belief in its ability to protect the soul, cinnabar became entwined with ancient systems of belief and social symbolism. Yet the hidden health costs went unrecognized until archaeology traced the evidence. Thus, cinnabar stands not only as a testament to the power of faith, but as a cautionary tale about the unseen risks of tradition and custom persisting across generations. The giant squid and the Kraken legend. The image of the Kraken has long haunted the sailors of northern Europe, a monstrous sea creature capable of dragging entire ships beneath the waves. This legend is not only a reflection of the seafarer's fear of the endless ocean, but also a testament to the powerful imagination of communities whose lives depended on the sea. In popular folklore, the Kraken was said to possess massive tentacles, able to seize and sink anything that ventured onto the water, and was considered an omen for journeys from which none would return. The Kraken has become a symbol of uncertainty, of nature's uncontrollable power, and a recurring subject in art and literature throughout the ages. Modern scientific discoveries have provided a factual foundation for this ancient tale. Carcasses of giant squids found along coastlines, as well as fossil remains, have confirmed the existence of a soft-bodied animal reaching lengths up to 15 meters the size of a small fishing boat. Notably, genetic analysis of giant squid specimens from across the world's oceans has shown that there is only one true species, rather than several, as once assumed. This means the giant squid is present in nearly every temperate and subpolar sea, from the North Atlantic to the South Pacific, and is capable of traveling through the deep, dark waters where humans rarely venture. From a biological perspective, the giant squid holds an important role in the deep sea ecosystem. They are the primary prey of the sperm whale, the largest marine mammal. Evidence of titanic battles between these two creatures can often be found in the scars on a whale's skin or in the beaks of squids retrieved from their stomachs. The giant squid is also remarkable for its unique adaptations, such as having the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, an evolutionary advantage for detecting prey and predators in the utter darkness of the ocean depths. Through rare underwater camera observations and the study of beached remains, scientists have gradually begun to uncover the secrets of the giant squid's hunting, breeding, and migration behaviors. Thus, the Kraken is no longer only a legend. It partially reflects a deeper natural reality where enormous creatures still silently play essential roles in the ocean's biological chain and continue to inspire both science and human culture. The volcano legends of Queensland. The oral traditions of the Gugu Badhun people of Queensland, passed down for over 7,000 years, tell of a time when the land was set ablaze, dust choked the sky, and many were unable to escape the disaster. These stories, preserved in rituals and recounted across generations, form a collective memory of a cataclysm that forever altered the ancestral landscape. Details such as fire racing along the rivers, suffocating air, and scenes of inescapable death have been repeated time and again, weaving themselves into the cultural identity of the region. Centuries later, geological surveys in Queensland identified a natural event that aligns almost exactly with this ancient legend. Stratigraphic data, basalt samples, and ash layers at the Cinnabar volcano confirmed that a major eruption had occurred around 7,000 years ago. The traces of old lava flows remain etched into the vegetation and river systems, demonstrating the scale of devastation which spread across tens of kilometers and reshaped the environment for generations. The significance of this convergence between oral tradition and scientific evidence lies in the value of oral history as a form of parallel record-keeping, alongside archaeology and geology. By preserving the memory of major geological events, indigenous communities not only safeguard their cultural identity, but also contribute to modern scientific understanding of environmental change and natural disasters. Decoding legends such as the Cinnabar fire brings clarity to the natural history of Australia and affirms the importance of indigenous knowledge in interdisciplinary research, connecting past and present and expanding our ability to identify threats from nature. Egyptian statues in Scotland. In 1952, at a small rural school in Scotland, a mischievous schoolboy was sent outside to dig for potatoes as punishment. What seemed like an ordinary disciplinary task instead led to one of the most unexpected archaeological discoveries in the region's history. In the cold, damp soil, the boy unearthed not a potato, but a carved stone head bearing the unmistakable style of ancient Egypt. The artifact's shape, material, and features left researchers with little doubt about its origins. It was a Middle Kingdom Egyptian statue dated to around 1922 BC. The story took another strange turn 14 years later, when the same student, now a teacher at the school together with his own pupils, discovered another ancient Egyptian statue, this time a bronze figure of a bull dating to around 664 BC. As time passed, more artifacts continued to emerge from the fields around the school. An organized excavation uncovered a variety of objects, all belonging to different eras of ancient Egyptian history. These discoveries naturally raised questions about the true origin of this unusual collection. Archival records showed no evidence of any local resident ever possessing such a trove of Egyptian relics. One hypothesis suggested that the former owner of the property had traveled to Egypt in the 19th century and brought artifacts home. The most often cited figure was the son of David Leslie Melville, who visited Egypt in 1856 and died soon after returning to Scotland. At a time when stories of the pharaoh's curse were spreading rapidly, it's possible that the artifacts were secretly buried outside the house to appease superstitions about the dangers of bringing ancient treasures back from Egypt. To this day, every effort to find documentation or a will relating to the collection has been fruitless. The artifacts remain preserved, serving as testimony to a mysterious journey from the Nile to the northern grasslands of Britain. The nature of the link between remote Scotland and the ruins of ancient Egypt remains unresolved, a series of unanswered questions, where each new discovery spawns fresh layers of hypothesis, from chance and folklore to the possible intervention of forces that even modern science hesitates to discuss. The Faceless Man of Pennsylvania. The legend of Charlie No Face, also known as the Green Man, is one of Pennsylvania's most distinctive urban legends, woven into the fabric of local folklore since the mid-20th century. The story of a faceless figure wandering the roads at night, glowing faintly green in the dark, has haunted generations, especially teenagers who frequented lonely roads after sunset. Over decades, the tale was passed along by word of mouth, becoming an enduring part of rural Pennsylvania's collective memory, almost a ghost in its own right. Yet, behind the unsettling legend lies a very human truth, reflecting both the community's fears and its capacity for empathy. The real Green Man was Raymond Robinson, born in 1910. As a child, Robinson suffered a horrific accident after touching a high-voltage wire, which left his face and arms severely disfigured, his nose and eyes gone, replaced by deep hollows. Following this trauma, he chose a life of seclusion with his family, supporting himself through handicrafts. Because of his appearance, Robinson avoided going out during the day, instead walking quiet roads at night to spare others from shock. His nocturnal walks inadvertently fueled the tales of a faceless man drifting through the darkness, especially when passing car headlights made his skin glow faintly. Yet those who actually met Raymond Robinson described him as gentle and harmless, sometimes even friendly and happy to chat with local residents. With time, the legend of Charlie No Face became ingrained in American folk culture. But the truth about Raymond Robinson stands as a poignant example of how communities construct and transform legends out of circumstance, revealing the interplay between invisible fears and genuine compassion for those who are different in society. The mysterious caves of Ecuador. Deep beneath the surface of Ecuador lies a mysterious cave system known as the Taos Caves, which once became the focus of one of the greatest expeditions of the 20th century, attracting the participation of Neil Armstrong and a host of international experts. The expedition ventured into the shadowy passages stretching for miles, hoping to find tangible evidence of a civilization rumored in indigenous legends to have once flourished here. Many hoped to discover strange stone statues, unnatural structures, or even a metal library, described in local lore as a treasure trove of knowledge recorded on enigmatic alloy tablets. Surveys revealed that this vast cave system has long been frequented by the indigenous Shuar community, whose spiritual rituals and ancient beliefs are deeply intertwined with the underground world. While scientific teams recorded traces of human habitation and ancient artifacts, there has been no definitive evidence of treasure or a metal library as described in the legends. Instead, the discoveries confirm a long human presence and adaptation to the harsh cave environment, opening new avenues for research into the relationship between indigenous cultural heritage, prehistoric technology, and the shifting geology of the Amazon. Though the mysteries remain unsolved, stories of peculiar artifacts, artificial structures, and the possibility of links to extraterrestrial technology continue to be debated by archaeologists and enthusiasts drawn to the theory of a prehistoric civilization that may have far surpassed the capabilities known from the written history of local societies. The caves of Ecuador stand as a vivid testament to the intersection of legend, archaeological evidence, and the limitations of modern science when faced with the relics of the ancient world. The enigmatic Mount Kailash of India. Nestled deep in the Tibetan plateau, Mount Kailash is a singular peak, one that has never been summited, with no recorded successful ascent to its top. Towering above perpetual snows, its symmetrical shape rises from afar like a monument crafted by a master hand. Throughout history, Kailash has been revered across many of Asia's major cultures, standing at the heart of Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and Bon. Each faith holds its own myths regarding Kailash as the abode of supreme deities, the axis of the world, or a bridge between the earthly and the supernatural. What sets Kailash apart from ordinary mountains are natural phenomena that science has yet to explain. Many local legends claim that time itself behaves differently near the summit, with climbers said to age dramatically in a matter of hours or experience disorienting shifts in space and perception. Some researchers have speculated about unusual geological structures, intense magnetic fields, or physical conditions capable of affecting human physiology. Yet empirical data remains scarce, since every expedition has stopped short at the mountain's base out of respect for religious prohibitions and the extreme climate. Kailash is also at the center of many speculative theories, suggesting it could be an ancient artificial structure or a natural pyramid with astonishing geometric regularity. Western explorers in the 20th century once asked whether Kailash might be a colossal monument eroded by time, concealing hidden chambers, secret corridors, or a design for ritual use by a forgotten civilization. Such hypotheses, though unverified, continue to fuel scientific curiosity and the passion of explorers, for Kailash has never allowed anyone to approach its summit. Today, Kailash stands not only as a physical challenge, but as a boundary between science, faith, and cosmic mystery. Each year, thousands of pilgrims walk the ancient circuit around its base, preserving Kailash's status as a living crossroads where legend and reality, belief and the distant frontiers of science converge. Aliens in the Atacama Desert. The Atacama Desert in northern Chile stretches across an arid landscape between the Pacific Ocean and the Andes, one of the driest places on Earth. On this harsh terrain, researchers have documented an unusually high frequency of unidentified flying object sightings compared to other deserts. The phenomenon draws the attention not only of locals but of scientists and groups dedicated to studying extraterrestrial events. Atacama is also famous for its hundreds of geoglyphs, enormous figures etched into the rocky ground, visible only from above. These lines, spanning hundreds of meters, form shapes of humans, animals, and enigmatic geometric symbols whose true purpose remains elusive. Some archaeologists argue that these geoglyphs served as religious markers, territorial boundaries, or symbols of ancient culture. Yet their visibility from the air has inspired other theories, that they were meant for communication or as guides for beings capable of aerial travel. Recently, reports of UFOs have continued to rise in Atacama. In a notable case, a Chilean security helicopter's thermal imaging equipment captured footage of a mysterious object moving across the sky, its form and behavior defying conventional explanations. Remarkably, some objects appeared to mimic the shapes of the geoglyphs below, suggesting a possible connection between these ancient signs and modern, unexplained phenomena. Although many images and data have been analyzed using advanced technology, there is still no official conclusion about whether these objects are natural or artificial in origin. The intersection of archaeological heritage and unexplained phenomena in Atacama continues to pose questions for science about the possibility of unknown civilizations or the potential for extraterrestrial observation and contact. For now, Atacama remains one of the world's most intriguing hotspots for both archaeology and the search for alien intelligence. The mysterious stone slabs of Iraq. Black and white photographs circulated in unofficial sources depict strange ancient stone slabs said to have been unearthed at the ziggurat site of in southern Iraq during the 1930s. On their surfaces, the slabs bear carvings of beings wholly different from familiar ancient symbols. Some creatures have multiple limbs or tentacle-like appendages surrounded by undeciphered signs. Alongside the images are lines of hieroglyphs and mysterious scripts, further complicating any effort to interpret their meaning. According to circulated accounts, the slabs were discovered by a British archaeological team during the major excavations of Mesopotamia's ziggurats. Yet, to this day, there is no scholarly documentation or official report confirming their existence in any museum or recognized archaeological collection. No experts have examined the physical artifacts themselves, only a few unverifiable photographs and unsourced reports remain. The greatest problem is that the origins of both the images and the slabs themselves have faded into obscurity. No one knows where they are now, or if they have been lost altogether. Researchers have suggested a range of possibilities, from the idea that the slabs are modern fabrications to the possibility that they were genuine artifacts lost during the turmoil of Iraq's 20th century conflicts. Some even speculate that the slabs were deliberately kept secret or destroyed because their content lay far beyond the accepted boundaries of traditional archaeology. To this day, the authenticity of the stone slabs remains hotly debated within the academic community. Lacking physical evidence or archival records, these slabs persist as a historical enigma fueling speculation about the existence of ancient knowledge still hidden in Mesopotamia, waiting to be discovered. Discovering the oldest structures of our human ancestors. From the deep, prehistoric past of humankind, silent traces still buried within the earth continue to stir questions that remain unanswered. As archaeologists embark on their quest to trace the origins of our own species, they must follow the faintest of clues hidden deep within caves, beneath layers of compacted earth and stone, or beneath sites where time has nearly erased every sign of their ancient inhabitants. The closer we move toward prehistory, the more we encounter structures that seem to exceed the presumed capabilities of early humans. Constructions of wood, stone, or earth, standing resilient for hundreds of thousands of years, quietly recording the first sparks of creativity in shelter building, in the organization of collective life, and even in the earliest expressions of art, faith, and scientific thought. Within the hushed spaces of ancient caves across rough stone walls or on the hardened floors newly revealed after ages of burial, every bone fragment, every petrified piece of wood, each carefully stacked stone, every tool buried in ash tells a story of beginnings. It is the story of our ancestors, who slowly transitioned from a wandering existence to communities that built houses, fashioned roofs, and learned to adapt and exploit every resource around them to survive a hostile world. Here, every shaped piece of wood or stacked stone represented an invention, a turning point when humans ceased to rely entirely on nature and began to remake the world in their own image. The appearance of these ancient structures also challenges long-standing beliefs about the intelligence and ingenuity of now extinct human species. Many scholars once assumed that our earliest ancestors lived only as opportunistic foragers beneath natural rock shelters, utterly dependent on the whims of climate and geography. Yet, discoveries in recent decades, from wooden floors buried deep beneath the sands of the sub-Sahara to stout stone walls deep in the mountains of Europe, have revealed a different reality. Their builders may have been Homo sapiens, or earlier groups such as the Neanderthals, Denisovans, or even Homo erectus, but all left traces of minds capable of design, of choosing materials, creating purposeful shapes, and foreseeing the need for durability against the elements and disasters. These relics also open the way to even deeper questions about the origins of civilization. They are not simply the remains of ancient shelters, but the first physical evidence of social thought, of labor division, of ritual, and of collective memory. Each layer of earth, each fragment of bone or stone, is a cross-section of evolutionary history, a vital link in the chain connecting wild animal to civilized human. Through these ancient works, we see that creative will and the spirit of exploration are not recent inventions, but have run quietly in the blood of our ancestors for countless generations. Exploring the oldest human structures is not just a journey into the earth, but an ongoing dialogue with the past. Each site, each fossilized foundation, each tool fragment illuminates the nature of our own existence, helping us to understand not only ourselves, but the very beginnings of the civilization we have inherited. Mammoth traps in Mexico. Just outside present-day Mexico City, archaeologists have discovered massive trap pits sunk deep into ancient soil remnants from a distant era of human hunting. Excavations reveal that these pits were hand-dug by prehistoric people, sometimes stretching dozens of meters wide, their walls reinforced and arranged in arcs to funnel entire herds of mammoths into a deadly snare. Each pit, nearly 2 meters deep and many meters across, was large enough to imprison a fully grown mammoth with no escape. Within the pits, scientists have found not only mammoth bones, but also the remains of horses, camels, and a host of tools made from bone and stone, suggesting the coordinated efforts of multiple groups. Charred remains, broken bones, fire scars, and stone implements attest to the butchering and communal consumption of mammoth meat, a testament to a highly organized society, capable of planning, coordination, resource sharing, and systematic exploitation of the natural world. Radiocarbon dating confirms these traps were constructed at least 15,000 years ago. This finding pushes back the timeline for human settlement and social formation in Central America and provides clear evidence of how people adapted to environmental challenges. The existence of such immense mammoth traps helps explain the disappearance of these great beasts and paints a vivid portrait of the life, technology, and organizational mindset of prehistoric communities in a land once crowded with giant post-Ice Age fauna. These silent pits, preserved in ancient soil, offer a scientific window onto the adaptive genius of the first Americans. A gem rarer than diamond, red beryl. Red beryl is a red silicate mineral, chemically related to emerald and aquamarine, but vastly rarer. Its formation demands a unique combination of temperature, pressure, and local chemistry within ancient volcanic systems. Such an environment exists in only a handful of places on Earth, with the Wawa Mountains of Utah, USA, standing out as the primary source. In fact, globally, the number of red beryl localities can be counted on one hand, making gem-quality specimens extraordinarily scarce. For a red beryl crystal to reach jewelry quality, it must form in tiny pockets within rhyolite or mineral-rich veins under intense heat, and it must contain traces of manganese, chromium, or iron to give it the signature red hue. The slow process of chemical transformation takes millions of years and depends on fleeting geological conditions. Even the slightest variation in chemistry or geology disrupts crystallization or produces beryl of different color or shape. Geologists and gem experts consider red beryl far rarer than diamond. For every 100,000 carats of diamond found, only a single carat of gem-quality red beryl is recovered. This extreme rarity, combined with its unique physical properties and the difficulty of extraction, makes red beryl's value depend as much on its scarcity as on its beauty and durability. Gem-quality red beryl is reserved for high-end collections or elite jewelry, with each stone accompanied by certificates attesting to its origin, age, and geology. Scientific studies of red beryl also yield insights into the history of ancient volcanoes and mineral migration within Earth's crust. On the gem market, red beryl's worth reflects not just its rarity, but the epic journey of its creation, testimony to nature's patience and the strict geological boundaries needed for such wonders to form. The Poverty Point Site. Amid the Mississippi River plain lies the monumental archaeological site known as Poverty Point, the largest prehistoric earthwork complex in North America, built around 3,500 years ago by societies that still lived as hunter-gatherers. These scattered river dwellers, moving with the seasons, came together to create one of the continent's most ambitious architectural undertakings. Poverty Point was not a city of palaces or temples, but a constellation of massive earthen mounds, 6 concentric ridges curving outward from a central plaza, forming arcs whose combined volume reaches millions of cubic meters. Between the rings lie embankments, mounds, and roads, all built entirely by human hands, with no evidence of machinery, centralized authority, or ruling elite. Remarkably, Poverty Point lacks any trace of kingship. No palaces, no monuments of power, no grand burials or luxury goods typical of ancient state societies. Instead, archaeologists have found countless work tools, spear points, stone knives, grinding stones, clay balls for cooking, pottery, and intricately crafted jewelry. The materials themselves, including tons of gemstones, volcanic rocks, shells, and red ochre, were transported from distant lands, proving that vast networks of exchange stretched across southeastern North America. The archaeological layers of Poverty Point reveal a community life that was not ruled by force or coercion, but organized through voluntary cooperation and egalitarian ties, yet capable of sustaining labor for generations to create earthworks enduring even nature's fury. This offers a new view of hunter-gatherer societies, moving beyond the old idea of rootless, fragmented bands. The true purpose of Poverty Point remains debated. Some suggest it was a ceremonial center, a gathering place for exchange and collective ritual linked to the cycles of nature and the cosmos. The earthworks may have served as spaces for communal events, preserving identity and supporting economic and social activity. The abundance of artifacts and evidence of trade confirm Poverty Point's importance within migration, exchange, and cultural networks across the Mississippi Valley. Poverty Point is more than an ancient site. It is proof of human adaptability, creativity, and the capacity for social organization. Its monumental earthworks continue to challenge stereotypes about ancient foragers and open new windows onto the dynamic cultures that shaped North America before the rise of centralized power. Glass from the stars. Tektites. Tektites are natural glass fragments, dark and glossy, formed through extreme physical processes. Scientific studies have established that tektites originate directly from meteorite impacts with the Earth's surface. When a meteorite traveling at high velocity strikes the outer rock layer, the resulting burst of energy instantly melts and hurls local material into the atmosphere. As this material cools rapidly in the low-pressure environment above, it solidifies into glassy fragments composed primarily of silica and trace elements. Analysis of tektites' chemical structure reveals that, while similar to natural glass, they possess distinct elemental ratios and microscopic patterns that set them apart from volcanic or man-made glass. Tektites are found in several regions across the globe, including Southeast Asia, Australia, Africa, and Central Europe. Each region's tektites display unique shapes, sizes, and chemical compositions, enabling scientists to trace their origins and date the geological events linked to each impact. In some places, vast fields of tektites stretch for hundreds of kilometers, a testament to the scale of astronomical collisions in Earth's past. In folk culture, tektites have often been seen as objects of supernatural significance, or marks of cosmic power. Many legends describe tektites as the tears of gods, shards of shooting stars, or mysterious gifts from the sky. In many ancient communities, these glassy stones were fashioned into jewelry, talismans, or ceremonial objects. Yet, modern science has shown that the formation of tektites follows the predictable laws of physics, tied directly to the cosmic forces that shape planetary surfaces. Tektites serve as concrete evidence of the Earth's intimate connection to large-scale cosmic phenomena. Their presence in geological strata helps researchers date meteorite impacts, contributing to our understanding of how the Earth's surface evolved. The discovery of tektites also broadens our insight into the dynamics of impact events and the influence of extraterrestrial objects on local geology and ecosystems. In this way, each piece of tektite is not just a curious object in the soil, but a witness to cosmic events far beyond the boundaries of everyday human imagination. The Marib Dam of Arabia. Amid the semi-desert landscapes of southern Arabia, where scarce water defines the fate of entire communities, the Marib Dam once stood as a monument to the organizational genius and environmental mastery of ancient peoples. This structure was the backbone of the Sabaean civilization, a kingdom that flourished through control of water, transforming barren land into fertile plains. The Marib Dam was begun around the first millennium BCE, at a time when local societies faced persistent floods and drought. Its construction combined high earthen embankments reinforced with stone, a solid foundation stretching for hundreds of meters, and a sophisticated network of intake and spillway gates that regulated the flow of the Dana stream. During the rains, water was collected and channeled through a web of canals that irrigated rice fields, date orchards, and fruit gardens. Thanks to this engineering marvel, the Sabaean economy thrived, and Marib city became a vibrant center for trade and culture, attracting caravans along the fabled incense routes linking Asia and Africa. Over the centuries, the Marib Dam was repeatedly expanded, strengthened, and repaired. Each collapse or flood was met with new techniques, reflecting the resilience and adaptability of its builders. The dam's gates and walls not only prevented flooding, but guaranteed a steady water supply year-round, supporting population growth, boosting agricultural productivity, and cementing the power of the Sabaean elite. Yet the history of the Marib Dam is also marked by disaster. Local legend holds that, in an unguarded moment, a plague of rats gnawed at the earthen walls, weakening them until the dam burst under the force of the water, laying waste to the plains. Later, Arab records describe the final catastrophic collapse of the dam in the 6th century, which triggered a mass migration of Sabaean peoples across the Arabian Peninsula, founding new communities. Some modern archaeologists suggest that the collapse may have been caused by earthquakes, successive floods, or a breakdown in social organization after the kingdom's zenith. Today, the ruins of the Marib Dam still stand in the sun-scorched lands of Yemen, with shattered remains and moss-stained gates bearing silent witness to ages past. Under the relentless sun, the remnants attract archaeologists, historians, and hydraulic engineers, each seeking traces of ancient ingenuity and the memory of a society sustained by its command of water. The Marib Dam is more than a physical structure. It is a testament to a civilization's rise and fall, to the taming of nature, and to the unforeseen consequences when the delicate balance between people and environment is lost. Its story is a profound chapter in the ever-shifting history of Arabia's desert civilizations. Sulfur mining in volcanoes. At the Ijen volcanic complex on Java, Indonesia, sulfur mining continues each day despite grave environmental and health risks. The volcano is famous for its broad crater, within which lies an intensely acidic lake and cracks venting clouds of sulfurous gas. Local miners, many from families rooted in the area for generations, descend into the crater by night to collect the solid yellow sulfur crystallized from cooled volcanic gases. Extraction begins by channeling the hot volcanic gas through ceramic pipes. As the gas cools outside the vents, it condenses into solid chunks of pure sulfur. Workers then break apart the sulfur with simple tools, load it into baskets, and carry it along narrow trails up the steep slopes, each load weighing up to 70 kilograms. The route is treacherous, the ground coated with toxic dust, and the air choked with noxious fumes. Working conditions here are among the most hazardous on Earth. Hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, and related compounds damage the lungs, irritate the skin and eyes, and pose a constant risk of poisoning. Few miners use proper protective gear, often relying on little more than cloth masks, which offers scant defense against chronic exposure. In addition to toxic gases, miners face high temperatures, landslide danger, earthquakes, and the threat of sudden eruptions. Each gas surge or lava flow can instantly reshape the landscape, forcing crews to adapt or flee. The primary motivation for these workers is economic necessity. Each journey with a load of sulfur earns just enough to support a family's basic needs. For many, mining is the only available livelihood, passed down from generation to generation. For the communities surrounding the volcano, sulfur mining is not only an economic activity, but also a symbol of endurance, a portrait of human persistence in the face of relentless adversity. Modern medical and social studies have revealed the long-term toll on miners' health. Respiratory diseases, musculoskeletal injuries, reduced life expectancy, and diminished quality of life. Sulfur mining at Egen is a stark example of how harsh labor environments shape social realities in regions with limited economic option. The story of these miners is a reflection of nature's unforgiving force and of the human spirit's capacity for endurance and adaptation in the most extreme circumstances. The ghost village of Balestrino, Italy. Balestrino is an ancient village clinging to a hillside in Liguria, its stone structures and cobbled lanes echoing centuries of history. Founded in medieval times, Balestrino was home to generations of families, its churches, towers, and winding streets testifying to a vibrant past. Yet Balestrino's fate has been shaped by the earth itself. Local tradition blames a series of 19th century earthquakes for the village's abandonment. Historical documents and architectural surveys reveal that Balestrino suffered repeated decline due to geological instability. Widening cracks split the earth and buildings, water and infrastructure failed, and safety concerns mounted. In the mid-20th century, as risks of collapse and landslides grew ever more urgent, the inhabitants were gradually relocated to a new settlement nearby, leaving the old village sealed off and deserted. Today, Balestrino is no longer a place of residence, but a site of historical and architectural study, a window onto the shifting fortunes of communities shaped by natural forces. Its ruined houses, abandoned churches, and tree-choked lanes attract researchers, photographers, and travelers drawn to lost heritage. Every building, alley, and crumbling wall preserves layers of knowledge about construction, daily life, belief, and the environmental realities that once governed the rhythms of communal existence. Access to Balestrino is tightly controlled, both to mitigate the risk of accidents and to preserve the site for future research. Debates continue over whether the village should be restored or opened to mass tourism, as geological hazards and heritage concerns require careful assessment. Balestrino remains a vivid testament to the complex relationship between nature, community, and disappearance, a haunting question mark over human resilience and the fate of settlements faced with forces beyond their control. The giant crystal cave of Mexico. Beneath the surface of Chihuahua, Mexico, lies a cave of extraordinary structure home to the largest natural gypsum crystals ever discovered on Earth. This hidden world was chanced upon in 2000 by a group of miners working hundreds of meters below ground. For years, as the mine's pumps continuously drained groundwater, an astonishing space was revealed, filled with interlocking crystals, some reaching 11 meters in length and more than a meter in diameter. These crystalline columns weave through the cave, nearly filling its entire volume with their silent presence. The formation of these crystals took place across countless geological cycles, requiring stable conditions of temperature and mineral saturation. Analysis shows that the cave water maintained a constant temperature near 58 degrees Celsius and remained highly saturated with calcium sulfate, allowing the crystals to grow undisturbed for millennia. The sealed environment, high temperature, and nearly complete humidity have made the air unbreathable. Without specialized protective gear, an environment inhospitable to human life. Access to the cave is strictly limited due to the extreme health and safety risks. Researchers are permitted only brief visits, typically measured in minutes, wearing cooling suits and oxygen masks. Despite these harsh constraints, scientific teams have managed to collect crystal samples and investigate the possibility of microbial life in this sealed world. Analysis of inclusions deep within the crystals has revealed ancient microorganisms, organisms that may have been trapped within the minerals for tens of thousands of years, isolated from the outside world. Genetic data from these microbes offers evidence of long-term survival under severe limitations of nutrients, heat, and light. The Crystal Cave of Chihuahua represents a unique environment where the laws of physics, chemistry, and biology converge over immense timescales to create an ecosystem unlike any other. Studying these colossal crystals provides valuable insight into mineral formation, groundwater dynamics, and the influence of geology on life in extreme habitats. At the same time, the cave highlights the potential dangers inherent in exploring untouched ecosystems, reminding us of the extraordinary complexity and diversity of natural processes that science is only beginning to comprehend. Libyan desert glass. Amid the sands of the Libyan desert, there exists a remarkable mineral known as Libyan desert glass. This material, composed chiefly of high-purity silicon dioxide with select trace elements, has a unique signature. Analysis confirms that it did not form through ordinary geological processes, but rather through the immense heat of a meteorite impact. When a meteor struck the desert, the temperature at ground zero soared, melting the quartz sand and creating flows of natural glass. Scattered across vast areas, the glass varies in thickness and size, revealing the magnitude of the cosmic collision that forged it. The ancient Egyptians recognized the rarity and value of this glass, collecting and using it for decorative and ceremonial purposes. Archaeologists have identified a carved gem of Libyan desert glass set in the center of King Tutankhamun's pectoral, a symbol of special significance in ancient Egyptian culture. The placement of this glass at the heart of royal regalia testifies to the ancient artisans' awareness and appreciation of rare materials. Its limited distribution and occurrence mostly in key archaeological sites suggest that collecting and exchanging Libyan desert glass was closely tied to religious, political, and diplomatic functions of the royal court. The discovery of Libyan desert glass in royal tombs raises questions about ancient perceptions of the material's origin. Some theorists propose that Egyptian craftsmen and priests recognized the otherworldly qualities of the glass and speculated on its celestial connections, even if they lacked a modern understanding of planetary physics. In both written records and archaeological finds, the material is consistently linked with sacred power and the supernatural, serving as a symbol of the divine connection between royal authority and the cosmic realm. Modern research into Libyan desert glass sheds light on the interplay between cosmic events and the rise of ancient civilizations. This material is not only evidence of human adaptability and resourcefulness, but also prompts new questions about the impact of extraterrestrial phenomena on cultural evolution. Each artifact containing Libyan desert glass stands as a critical data point in decoding the intertwined histories of nature, society, and the forces beyond our control. Military encampment in the Swiss Alps. In the autumn of 2023, archaeologists from the University of Basel documented an extraordinary discovery atop Oberg-Hallstein in the Swiss Alps. Their survey uncovered evidence not only of a late 1st century BCE battle, but also pinpointed the location of a Roman military camp more than 2,000 meters above sea level. Defensive walls, deep ditches, and sections of ancient stone fortifications remain, perched along precipitous slopes, designed to control the strategic mountain passes and overlook 4 major valleys converging far below. Detailed surveys using laser scanning and digital modeling have reconstructed the camp's original layout. Within the soil and debris, archaeologists discovered lead sling bullets stamped with the insignia of the Roman 3rd Legion ammunition typical of Roman frontier campaigns. This find confirms the prolonged presence of Roman forces at these high-altitude outposts, established to control native tribes and protect the vital trade and military routes crossing the Alps between northern and southern Europe. Evidence of daily life here includes remnants of architecture, military equipment, and everyday artifacts, all bearing witness to the harsh conditions faced by Roman soldiers in the cold, unforgiving mountains. The Alps were more than a natural barrier, they were a strategic theater that shaped the outcome of imperial expansion. The Roman army, renowned for its organization and fortification skills, advanced deep into these icy regions, implementing logistical measures to maintain control over the long term. This discovery not only broadens our understanding of the Roman footprint in the Alps, but also adds specific detail to the network of military camps, defensive structures, and troop movements across the most formidable terrain. Through these findings, the long history of conflict between native peoples and the Roman Empire is brought into sharper focus, highlighting the crucial role that mountain strongholds played in the vast web of Roman territorial control, stretching from Italy across the Alps and deep into Central Europe. Balamkanche Cave. Amid the Yucatan Peninsula, near the great ruins of Chichen Itza, Balamkanche Cave stands as a vital, natural space in the spiritual world of the ancient Maya. The cave's geology penetrates deep into limestone bedrock, forming a network of passageways and underground chambers, with multiple entrances connecting to the surface. Archaeological investigation has revealed that these passages were not just routes of movement, but also bridges, linking surface ceremonial centers to subterranean realms, believed by the Maya to be portals to Xibalba, the underworld of their mythology. Artificial stone structures, foundational remains, and paved walkways at the cave's entrance indicate that this was once a focal point for ritual gatherings. Deeper inside, archaeologists have found pottery, stone tools, offerings, and organic remains associated with ancient ceremonial cycles. Objects placed deliberately on stone altars, traces of charcoal, and layered organic deposits. Most artifacts date from the post-classic to the terminal classic period of Maya history. Structural analysis shows that the cave's internal organization reflects the Maya cosmic order, with principal corridors aligned parallel to sacred roads, Sakbiob, connecting the central plazas of Chichen Itza directly to Balamkanche's mouth. The construction of auxiliary buildings and paved entrances further demonstrates the Mayas' mastery of space and collective organization. These findings support the hypothesis that the cave was not merely a site for isolated rituals, but served as a central nexus, linking the physical and spiritual worlds and occupying a core place in the religious and social structure of the region. The sacred status of Balamkanche is underscored by the preservation of ceremonial roads, ritual architecture, and spatial arrangements across generations. Material evidence demonstrates a continuous connection between the surface ceremonial grounds and the cave system, mirroring the Maya concept of the permeable boundary between the world of the living and the realm of Xibalba, a foundational tenet of their philosophy. Ongoing study and preservation of the site continue to reveal insights into Maya society, belief, and the ways humans have interacted with the natural landscape throughout Mesoamerican history. The dark side of uranium. Uranium is a heavy metal element found in mineral deposits worldwide. Because of its radioactive properties, uranium has long been a strategic resource for both nuclear energy and weapon production. Yet, the mining and use of uranium have left a legacy of grave consequences, especially for communities living near extraction sites. On Navajo lands in the American Southwest, large-scale uranium mining began in the mid-20th century to meet the demands of the Cold War era. Thousands of indigenous workers participated in mining operations, unaware of the dangers of radiation exposure and lacking protective measures. Direct contact with uranium dust, contaminated water, and radon gas from the earth took place with little understanding of the health risks. Prolonged exposure to radiation led to high rates of lung disease, cancer, immune disorders, genetic mutations, and health problems that persisted across generations. Epidemiological studies conducted decades later documented significantly higher rates of lung and pleural cancers, as well as other respiratory illnesses among the Navajo compared to national averages. Beyond immediate health effects, radioactive contamination spread through water and soil, triggering a cycle of environmental and public health impacts. Efforts at compensation and remediation only began after intervention by health organizations, scientists, and community advocates. The Radiation Exposure Compensation Act was enacted to provide some financial assistance to affected individuals, though many cases remain unresolved. Activists and community leaders continue to call for broader health protections, increased awareness, and stricter environmental controls to prevent future tragedies. The story of uranium on Navajo land is a powerful illustration of the conflict between industrial progress and the responsibility to protect public health. It underscores the critical need for transparent oversight of radioactive mineral extraction, rigorous safety standards, and careful environmental assessment. The history of uranium mining not only traces the mineral's industrial significance, but also serves as a stark reminder of the long-term costs of neglecting community health for short-term gain. Yongle Blue Hole. The Yongle Blue Hole, known as the Dragon's Hole, lies in the Paracel Islands of the South China Sea and is recognized as the deepest natural blue hole ever surveyed, plunging nearly 1,000 feet. This formation is a remarkable vertical sinkhole, shaped by the dissolution of limestone beneath the seabed over millions of years. Its sheer, plunging walls create a flooded, isolated environment with dramatic shifts in temperature, pressure, chemistry, and biological conditions from surface to depths. Geological and biological surveys of the Dragon's Hole reveal that at a certain depth, the water becomes almost completely devoid of oxygen, creating a strict boundary for the existence of higher life forms and enabling unique microbial communities to flourish. In the upper sunlit layers, researchers have documented fish, corals, and marine creatures adapted to well-oxygenated water. However, as depth increases and oxygen disappears, complex organisms give way to colonies of bacteria and microorganisms employing metabolic pathways unknown in the open ocean. Research in the Yongle Blue Hole faces daunting technical and safety barriers. The great depth, pressure changes, and stratified water columns pose risks to both divers and equipment. Most exploration relies on remotely operated vehicles and automated sampling systems, as many regions have never been reached by human divers. Chemical and ecological data from within the Dragon's Hole offer important clues about seabed geology and the potential for life in extreme conditions, expanding our understanding of evolution and adaptation on a global scale. The Dragon's Hole is also a site of strategic research collaboration for international marine ecology, hydrogeology, and environmental impact studies in the South China Sea. Its mysteries of origin, development, and biodiversity continue to draw scientific attention, inspiring new theories about the creation of isolated ecosystems and their roles within the broader architecture of life in the oceans. homes in lava tubes. On lands repeatedly scarred by volcanic eruptions, ancient lava flows carved out winding tunnels deep beneath the earth. Over thousands of years, these lava tubes became more than geological relics. They served as unique shelters for early humans. Faced with extreme climates, sudden temperature shifts, and fierce sandstorms, ancient communities chose these natural stone corridors as the safest havens for themselves and their livestock. Archaeological surveys of lava tubes in regions such as Harat Khaibar in Arabia, as well as similar systems elsewhere, have uncovered a wealth of traces left by ancient life. Within the cool darkness of these caves, human and animal bones mingle with fragments of pottery, carved stone, and wooden tools, hints of hunting, daily living, and food storage. Layers of ash and ancient hearths reveal how people once lit fires for warmth, cooking, and protection from the dangers lurking in the pitch-black underground. On the cave walls, rock art captures moments from a primordial world. Humans herding livestock, hunting parties pursuing large animals, the simplified yet vivid outlines of native fauna. Occasionally, these cave drawings also record traces of communal rituals, showing the symbolic thinking and collective memory of ancient peoples. Through the analysis of sediments, fossil bones, and tools, researchers have dated these sites as early as 7,000 years ago, with signs of repeated use by many generations. Yet the relatively modest number of surviving artifacts suggests these lava tubes were primarily used as temporary refuges rather than permanent settlements. Early humans exploited the stable temperature, humidity, and shelter from sandstorms to protect themselves during migrations, extended hunts, or sudden natural disasters. These networks of lava caves are more than just geological formations, they are biological and social archives of our ancestors' ingenuity and adaptability. What remains inside these shadowed tunnels is direct evidence of the symbiosis between humanity and nature, each archaeological trace recounting a chapter in the ancient search for safety and survival amid the harshest of worlds. If you found these mysterious stories fascinating, don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our next explorations. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.